Các bạn.
Hello, Sandy Bonatti. This is Top Tier Breakaway League Racing. Welcome to Jeddah, the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia. It's another installment of Top Tier Breakaway League Racing. We will have a full qualifying session. As you can see, we have a good collection, a good crop of our top tier drivers represented here, looking to make their mark on this qualifying session and indeed the race proper. Just a couple of seconds to go. My name is Bob O'Connor. Thank you for choosing Breakaway League Racing as your esports race of choice. And would you look at that? We have rain in the first qualifying session, Q1, in under the night sky here in Jeddah. We'll have 18 minutes of Q1. Now remember, just 15 spots on the line for all these drivers to make their mark and, well, just go through to Q2. They will want to keep it simple. But yeah, the weather will definitely make things interesting as far as setups and keeping it good and precise on track is concerned. Ban Kobe is here. So is Inati, Andromio, aka Mandla, M. Shangu, M. Duduzi. Sapiso is here. Josh, aka Damnesia. Lungs, codenamed Guzu. He's here, as is Zotao, Seppo Temba. Brown Boy, aka Msika, is also here, as is the reigning champion and current championship leader, Sihle, as Buddha rounding off the roster here, so to speak. Now, as usual, Sapiso does not want to waste time. Regardless of the track, regardless of the conditions, he likes to get out first and make his mark. Well, it's the case here with about 16 minutes and 35 odd seconds to go. Sapiso will be first out on track. Mellow the Mellow, Jeddah and Rain. He says, oh, look at that. It's a pretty much not even in turn 3. Sapiso has an almighty spin and loses his wing. Sapiso will have to go all the way around and bring that Ferrari back to the track. Thankfully, he did not ruin his car altogether. But, well, that's an early warning sign. An early portent, perhaps, of things to come? Well, time will tell. Joshua Damnesia is right behind him, and let's see how he fares coming out of the first couple of corners. Goes a little bit wide, does Josh, but at least this is his out lap. Someone else who's following Josh closely behind is this man, Ban Kobe, who crashed out in, well, dramatic circumstances the last time out. Ban Kobe will look to get back into the points. Only 5 points or rather, only that P5 finish in Monaco for Ban Kobe. He's had 2 DNFs thus far. He crashed out in Belgium, and he crashed out in Australia. Ban Kobe has got his work cut out. And, well, following Ban Kobe, a little bit behind, is this man, S. Buddha, who could not take part in the first race. He had a DNF in Monaco, and he finished P8 in Australia. So, S. Buddha knows that there are potential points on the line here if he can keep it together and get another points haul. There are just 15 drivers represented in Q1. Hopefully, we will see more drivers in as far when the race starts. M. Shangu has crashed out. M. Shangu on his out lap has totaled that Mercedes. The W13 is out. M. Shangu is the first driver to crash out in the session in Jeddah. Oh, Mellow the Mellow will lament the loss of his teammate. But perhaps Mellow the Mellow will be able to make it into the race proper. Now, it's Josh, aka Damnesia, the first out on a qualifying run, taking it extra careful. You can see the angle of the rain is flying straight into the helmet of the Alfa Romeo driver. He is careful in fifth gear here on this section of track. It is so slippery out there. Intermediate tire conditions, not so wet as yet. for Josh, but as is the case for the rest of the grid, he's about to begin the second sector as Josh, and of course, being the first man, he sets a purple first sector. Let's see how the rest of the grid will fare. This will be the gauntlet for Josh, aka Damnesia, and that will be, of course, the time to beat, the gold standards, if you will, for the rest of the grid to beat. That can be a treacherous corner, but Josh comes into this next DRS sector. Of course, in these conditions, no DRS in these laps. It's sector 2 for Josh. He keeps a fairly clean line in these conditions. Purple once again, understandably. And he now begins the third and final sector. He is going to point that car around this long left-handed double curve. As I see Mello and Crash expressing shock at the rainy conditions out in Jeddah. It's not very often that we see that, but that's what they have to contend with. It is a straight shot now down to the start-finish line for Josh, aka Damnesia. The time to beat is 141.992. How will that be? Well, Brakeaway is en route as well to possibly match or better that time. It's a 144.7 for the driver in the McLaren. So Josh's 144.9 is the benchmark so far. Mandla, how can he do? Now let's stay on board with the Aston Martin driver. Australia was a dramatic race for Mandla. He was involved in that huge pileup involving the likes of Inati that we saw towards the second half of the race in Australia. He would want to keep it clean. He would want to keep it consistent and absolutely on point in this race. It's Q1, it's Sector 2 for Mandla. AlphaTauri, how will he fare? Now, Buddha and September have already set times, but they're far below. Mandla's an almighty spin and sends it straight into the wall. The AlphaTauri now blocks the path of all comers through that second sector. Oh, Mandla will be absolutely fuming, and Alfa Romeo slows down to make its way around that wreckage of the AlphaTauri, and now the team has all that work cut out to make sure that he will be ready for his run. And it looks like Josh himself might have actually lost a wing. Yeah, Josh has lost a wing trying to improve. And as I say that, Seekley, who was on his first run, has gone quickest. It's a 140.972, a full second quicker than Damnesia, quicker than Josh by a factor of a second. So Seekley picking up where he left off. Inati hasn't validated his time, so he's going to have to give it another go. What about Tapiso? You saw his dramatic crash coming out. He was the first driver on track, and well, he went straight back to the pit lane. What will it be now? He is now out attempting to put a clean first representative lap. The Alpine, presumably Zotal, makes way for Tapiso here. Oh, but he's playing it absolutely carefully as Tapiso, taking no chances, lifting off the throttle, coming through the end of Sector 1. It's about just in the low 39s for that Sector 1. But he's really nursing that car now, beginning this second sector as Tapiso. Keeping his line quite tight to the walls here, and taking absolutely no chances for the Ferrari. Ooh, has a bit of a snap, a slight snap of oversteer, but he managed to correct that. Hit the Ferrari driver, and now onto this DRS section. No DRS, of course, in these conditions. He will look to put in as much speed as possible. Circumspect, not using much of that battery, seemingly, but of course it's on automatic deployment. And right now, it is Sector 3 for Tapiso. He knows all he has to do is just keep it together. Romeo and Mshengu have crashed out, thus excluding themselves from Q2 and Q3. Seekley goes even quicker. It's a 140.777 for the Haas driver, but here comes Tapiso onto the final stretch of track. It's the final and the main straight for the Ferrari driver, and he will send that car hurtling, screaming to cross the line. P3, 143.213. Not a bad effort in these circumstances. He pips Brakeaway to P3 and knocks the rest of the gang all the way down. Now, Inati hadn't validated earlier on, but let's catch up with the Brown Boy, who is currently in Sector 3, about to complete his hot lap. No problems as far as his wings are concerned. He's looking clean so far. But what about the lap time? This is the most important thing, of course, as he points that Red Bull onto that main straight. Brown Boy, who is looking to make amends for the race having been missed by virtue of load shedding, going to go second quickest It's a 141.900. Clay still has an advantage of about a second, but Brown Boy is there and thereabouts. Looking good, looking solid for Red Bull. 9 minutes of qualifying to go, 9 minutes of Q1, I would say. So still a lot to go. Someone else who we attempted to hop on board with but hadn't validated was Inati. Let's see how he fares. Oh, has a huge moment, but he slams those brakes and manages to keep that car as far away from the wall as he possibly could. And as his heart pounds down to a fairly calmer heart rate, he will have to bring that car all the way around. But he had managed to steady time in the good enough for P5, 143.2, just before we hopped on board with him. So not bad for him, decent effort for him. And let's now catch up with S. Buddha, who looks to be going for another run and looks like as he completed Sector 1 that it was going about 9/10 quicker. And if he maintains this rate, then that will certainly put him probably just above Bankobi and Zotal if he can improve on that. Let's hop on board with the Williams driver now. Sector 2, S. Buddha. There is no Kaboza represented in Jeddah here, so S. Buddha is pretty much the hope of the Williams team thus far. Has to ease off the throttle there as he comes through that DRS detection point. And let's see how he fares. Currently P8 for the Williams driver. And you can really tell the lines that they take, the extent to which they're having to be so careful. Malusi says, it's bad out there, it's hectic out there in the comment section. Yeah, that rain has been falling pretty much from the time we started proceedings out here in Jeddah. So it's not easy. Yeah, it really looks to be really easing off here. Yeah, it's not a representative lap by any means. Meanwhile, Lungs seems to pass him on that out lap. So we'll stay on board with Lungs a little bit later, because someone who's a little bit further ahead is this man, M. Fundo. Zotal's teammate has yet to set a time, but he's invalidated, so we'll go back to Lungs and hop on board. Now we saw Brown Point finish his lap quite comfortably. There's a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 3. Hopefully we will not have another DNF. But here comes Lungs now coming out of the initial sequence of corners. Still Sector 1 eases off the throttle, comes through this section in at the beginning of that section in Gear 3. And now this is where we've seen a couple of cars kind of lose and go off, but not Lungs. And he's in Gear 6, but really easing off the throttle there, as you can see on the telemetry. This is the stretch of track he will look to make up time, and as I say that, he goes quickest. Quickest man through Sector 1 is Lungs. Begins now the middle sector. Let's see how he fares for Red Bull. One of them is already in the top 2 in Q1 with just under 6 minutes of qualifying to go. It's Sector 2 for Lungs. Not too bad. Not too bad at all for Lungs. Looking comfortable, fairly comfortable in these conditions, as someone further behind him racks up a yellow flag. Lungs is the quickest man through Sector 2. He crossed that marker at about 1 minute 11 seconds. So, are we looking at a potential pole lap here for Lungs? Oh man, what result that would be for him? Not potential pole, but a potential time topping of the timesheets in Q1. Well, that would be fantastic for Lungs and give him a hell of a lot of confidence going into Q2 and Q3. Green flags for Lungs as he sets his sights on that start-finish line, and it's only P4, 142.862. So a lot of time lost in that third sector for Lungs, but I'm pretty sure he will be happy with that effort. And as things look, he'll be comfortable enough to come back into the pit lane. Now, what about M. Fundo? He's now just beginning the third and final sector of the track. Great first 2 sectors, says Crash, absolutely. Lungs was the quickest in sectors 1 and 2. What about M. Fundo? Sector 3 for the Alpine driver. Oh, has a huge moment, has to correct that and try not to hit the wall as Verstappen so famously did in 2021. But not M. Fundo. In this case, he abandons that attempt and brings it back safely into the pit. Now, Lungs is still out on track, but we can reasonably assume that he's bringing that Red Bull back to the pit lane, and yeah, he has no reason really to panic or take unnecessary risks. We've seen Mandla and M. Shengu lose their cars in Q1. 4 minutes of qualifying to go. If any of these 13 eligible drivers will want to, well, set a representative lap and just improve on those times. Now, Seaflay tops the timesheets with 3 minutes 45 seconds of this session to go from Brown Boy. Seaflay 140.777. Brown Boy 141.9. Josh, aka Damnesia, is third in these standings with 141.992. Lungs is fourth with that 142.8, and then Tapiso begins times in that 143s. It's 143.213 for the Ferrari driver. Imati for Aston Martin, 143.228. So running quite close to Tapiso, the two Tier 2 alumni in close proximity as far as times are concerned, as Lungs brings that Ferrari back to the pit. Van Kobe currently sitting P7, 144.7 in these inclement weather conditions. Zotal is 8th, Esbuda is 9th. Then we have Seppo Temba, and Loveness and Mfundo have yet to set a time. But as I say that, Loveness is on his way out. We have Tindo in the house. Hello, Tindo. It's good to have you.
Yes, brother. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Things are looking pretty good. The weather conditions aren't the most welcoming.
It's actually weird there to see the rain in the Asian countries there. You know, like, I'm actually surprised that it's raining.
Yeah, that's exactly what Crash and Mello were saying. The first comments were surprised at the rain. Yeah, it's quite rare that we have these conditions.
It's a rare. I think maybe they could see they missed a race yesterday, so maybe they are punishing us. The tier 1 say, okay, let's put rain for them. They were supposed to be here yesterday. They didn't pitch up.
Yeah. Selby, aka Satellite, says this weather is witchcraft. It does not agree with this inclement weather. And we're going to watch Josh's teammate Loveness is on the verge of beginning his hot lap. Tapiso. I think he retired in the pits again.
Yeah, I think it's retiring. Yeah, he's in the pits.
He's in the pits. Now, Loveness comes through turn 1 fairly unscathed, has to take turn 2 in gear 2, and has a bit of a snap, adjusts that car, the point of that car now, and behind him is Mfundo, who's on the verge of beginning his hot lap. But let's see how Loveness fares. By now he'll know he just needs to set a representative time. Loveness, we know, is a driver with trademark aggression, and he actually loves these conditions, does Loveness. We've seen him perform really, really well in wet weather races in seasons past, so perhaps he'll be feeling more comfortable than most. And as I say that, he goes quickest from Sector 1, set a time in the mid-38. Wow. 38 and a half seconds or so for Loveness, finds him being the quickest man through Sector 1. What about Sector 2? We saw Brown.
There's a tricky one.
Having a huge moment.
I told you.
Has to adjust.
That corner is very tricky because you need to lean in the wall and you need to come out as well. Like, it's so tricky.
Yeah, absolutely tricky. And it doesn't look like he's. Despite that, he's still the quickest man through Sector 2.
Wow.
Whoa! Well, if you can keep this up, we're looking at a potential.
That's a statement there from him. That's a very, very good statement. Let's see on the last corner. Hopefully, he won't spin. He won't go to the wall. We must not try to do something funny on that corner, because that corner is also tricky. Like, let's go. Yeah, no, he did it nice and perfect.
Yeah,
nice
he's nowhere near the quickest time so far. As Crash says, no way, that had to be a glitch.
No, it's a glitch for you. That's a big glitch.
But Loveness finds himself in P9 with that 145.4. And Mfundo, as you can see there, is the quickest man through Sector 2. So on his, essentially final attempt, he is looking fairly comfortable. Is Mfundo here? And it is my
understanding. Is it not also a glitch in, like, he's flying like that? It's also a glitch.
I don't know, because he's got way too much time to make up. Yep. It's going to be a time in the 146 for Mfundo, P11, 146.672.
I feel like maybe the guys, they don't have, according, if you compare them with Useke, they don't have they have so much downforce. They don't have straight line speed. And
Yeah.
I think Sise managed to gather together to use both. Like he has the straight line speed, also has much less downforce. Because now most guys have downforce. If you look at it, like maybe even from UP4, I guess they do, because they can't be scoring 143, 144.
Yeah.
That's actually 4 seconds behind the guy in front, unless they're just being cautious.
Yeah. So quite a huge difference between Seaclay and most.
Gap.
Yeah,
Very
and
big gap.
most of the grid. It's about 2 seconds between P1 and well, almost 2 seconds between P1 and P5, give or take. So
P5.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of work to be done in Q2 and Q3 as we see Loveness bring that Alfa Romeo back into the pit lane. Now, Seaclay, yes.
Yeah, I was so disappointed yesterday, like, we didn't race, like, some of us, our times are very, very tight, like,
Yeah.
you trying to make that time up and then the guys don't pitch up. It's so disappointing. I don't know whether it was load shedding. I feel like there should be a rule, that can suit everyone. You know what I mean? So if there's gonna be load shedding, it's for a certain time. Maybe if it's gonna be after 7, or maybe we'll guess where it's coming back at 8, we can move times. Let's treat it like red flag. Like someone who just DNF and then CBN a certain time if there's an option for timing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like after 8, we at 8 o'clock exactly, we had more guys were coming back saying, oh, the power is back. Although I think it's something the ESCO need to look at.
Definitely something to be considered. It would be great, of course, to keep on having races with each and every designated race day. So definitely something for the ESCO to take into consideration.
I think it's something that they need to sit down and then take that into consideration. Because imagine like you just miss out for like 30 minutes. We can have 30 minutes of grace period for, unless if other ones are going to be affected after 8. You know what I mean? And then we can balance those two. But if the other ones are available, if we have more numbers, let's say okay, after 8 we can rest. I'm sure we can work it out that way, because we don't have the situations where we had the ones we had last season, where the other guys they're doing a catch up now, and of which you're gonna be so much under pressure because you're trying to score points, because you feel like you're missing out and stuff like that. But it's I think they need to sit down and talk about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure they'll take a lot of things into consideration that will make things in the league most beneficial for a lot of the grid. Now, if you've just joined us, thank you for doing so. We're in Q2. Seaclay, Damnesia, and Lungs and Brown Boy were the top 4 drivers. Thank you for making the choice to join Brakeaway League Racing. We're about to begin the second qualifying session in this most challenging of high-speed corner tracks in Jeddah. And as you can see, 12 of the drivers have made it through to this second qualifying session. It's the battle to secure a spot in the top 10 shootout and the battle for pole position. So we're looking forward to a decent race out here. Tapiso, Damnesia, again, not wasting any time. We were on board with them for a little while. So in this session, Zotal will watch closely, see how he fares, as well as the leading man as far as points in the championship, Seaclay and Brown Boy and S. Buddha here. Now, you've raced alongside a lot of these guys, Tindo. Now we know Seaclay has a lot of pace. We know what he can do in qualifying and in the races. Are there other drivers that you can point who quite enjoy themselves around this track, or whose driving style is well suited to a good result here?
I'm actually surprised, because I know Manda is very strong on this track. I don't know, maybe because of the rain or what, but Manda, I would say, he's also like, oh, what happened to Bangobi? They just kissed the wall there. But Manda is actually pretty good on this track. He is very quick. So maybe if we could get a dry track, maybe on the race, we might see something out of him, because Except for Usihle, you know, maybe Umfundo Nainje is also good on that, and Josh. So, but let's see. You know, a lot of these guys have improved. You know, they've changed, like the way they drive and the way they do things now. Because now, from the previous race, from the previous season, we had a different game from this one, and people have different setups and stuff like that. But let's see. But I feel like Mandla might get some more points today, except not 2 points or 1, but a lot today.
Yeah, having had that huge crash in Q1, Mandla will start further back on this grid. Right now, we're on board with the championship leader and the quickest man thus far on this track. The only man in the 1 minute 40s in these conditions. It's C-Clay making his way towards the end of Sector 1 here. And look how tight he hugs those apexes despite the conditions. Now, being the first man, he will set a purple Sector 37.617. That is absolutely blistering. Sector 1 for C-Clay. A lot of the drivers we've seen end that first sector in the 38 seconds. So he's got a 37.6 of C-Clay. He's going to look to lay down the gauntlet, set a time, and perhaps come back into the pit well and truly knowing that he is safe and that he has nothing to worry about as far as his place in Q3. But still has 2 more sectors to complete. And again, look how tight he hugs that line. On the right, on the left, it's a 109.8 at the end of Sector 2. Remember those times as we hop on board with the rest of the field now a little bit later. Beginning Sector 3, he's still looking good. 8th gear, and look at that throttle marker. That green indicator just under the speedometer. It is absolutely flat out in that straighter section of track. He turns and points that car towards the final stretch. That start-finish line. Will it be another 140 for C-Clay? Yes, it's a 140.598.
Need to improve this time.
Sensational effort from C-Clay. What about Josh about to cross the line? No, he's going to only begin now. So, yeah, a lot of time for him to make up. Tapiso crossing the line, 142.633. Seppo Temba follows suit with a 142.9. The 2 Ferrari.
Inati is wingless.
Inati has lost the wing. He will have to come back and sort himself. Wingless there.
Look at the front of this car. This car looks...
Josh has crashed out. Josh, damn knees are retired from the session. He will crash out in Q2. Have no participation in the race, in the battle for the pole position. Josh, who's been doing well and fighting at the front, will have to fight from a minimum of P12 in this race, which is good news for the rest of this field now, knowing that they only have to fight for 1 place if they'll be battling towards the bottom. So Zotal has crossed the line, P5 with that 143, as Buddha gets knocked down to P7, courtesy of Loveness having just crossed the line, but a Red Bull is on the verge of crossing the line. That will be Lungs, and look how tight he has the line. It's P3. The Red Bulls are back to back, just behind his teammate in P3. Brown Boy set that time, that 141.4, puts him behind C-Clay once again. Brown Boy, C-Clay, the 2 drivers to watch, especially with Josh, aka Damn Ninja, having been relegated, knocked out of Q2 with about 9.5 minutes of this session to go. Now let's see who else might be on a redemption arc, so to speak, coming back. Just want to get a sense of whether or not Teppo Temba is on an in-lap here, and it looks like that might be the case because he's well and truly far away from his quickest time. So, or he might just be beginning another hot lap attempt here. Yeah, it looks like he's going for another run. So let's stay on board with him, the Ferrari driver. Seppo Temba comes through the initial corners fairly cleanly, unscathed. Now, Seppo Temba has finished 6th in Belgium. He DNF'd in Monaco and finished 4th in Australia. So he's looking for another good race here in Jeddah, about to complete Sector 1. And what kind of a time will it be for him?
Looks like he's improving his time as well. Yes, he did 2 seconds. Wow. Hey, but he's still down there, eh?
Yep. Bankobi sends it into the wall. We saw from the vantage point of Teppo Temba. So Bankobi is well and truly out here, leaving the rest of these drivers that are running to just have to set representative laps, and they will be the ones taking part in Q3. Van Kobe, Damnesia, crashing out in Jeddah. In
September is flying on his lap there. Hopefully he's gonna improve, but he's really flying.
yeah,
If he doesn't make a mistake there, it's gonna maybe second sector is just got a purple as well. He is flying.
yeah, but I did note that glitch that Crash mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
He was slower than Seaplay in Sector 1, but it still showed purple. So yeah.
But with September, look at him. Look at this time. Look at this time.
Yeah,
Look at the time. Look at the time. Look at the time. Come on, September.
finishes P2. They 141.226.
Now you are flying.
And he
You are
hit
flying.
the newcomer Brown Boy to P3. So a solid, sensational lap from Tepo Temba. And I think someone was asking in the comments if he's on the controller. The answer is yes. And what a talent he is, Tepo Temba. Clean, consistent, and absolutely pacey for the ages. Now, it's Mfundo making his way through Sector 1. He's slower by a significant margin from Seaflake, whose time was in the mid 37 seconds. Mfundo crossed that line just, I think, in the low 39 seconds at the end of Sector 1. So, Mfundo has his work cut out for him. Let's hop on board with the Alpine driver. Remember, Zotal's partner, his partner currently sitting comfortably in P4. Now, Mfundo and Inati are the last two that will need to set representative times. And that will pretty much be your Q3 lineup.
I think the tires are getting better because Mfundo longs just to improve his time as well. And I don't know whether the track is getting warmer or I don't know what's happening. Or maybe because the tires, oh yeah, it's the tires. Because the guys are thinking they're going so many laps and then you can improve your time because you can see this is his third lap now. He's been going on longs and with Tepo Temba as well. He's his third lap as well. And they're all improving their time. The more they go around, the more they improve.
Absolutely. Mfundo has just done his first representative lap on this set of tires, and it's a 142.7. It puts him in P7. Now, Inati is the last of the runners who has yet to set a representative time. And yes, as we watch Inati, Mello quite rightly pointing out the consistency of Brown Boy. He's been among the front runners as a newcomer in this tier, and Crash noting that, yeah, he's replicating the kind of debut season in Tier 1 that Tepo Temba himself had last time out. So, yeah, Brown Boy really flying the flag high for Tier 2 alumni, and looking absolutely sensational. Inati has come past this final section of track to cross the line 144.4, puts him P7. Mfundo crashes out! Mfundo crashes out, I think it was at... yeah, looks like somewhere midway through Sector 2, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Sector 2. If it's going to rain. Let me just laugh. If it's going to rain, hey, we're going to see something else today. We're going to see disaster after disaster.
Yeah, it'll be quite an interesting race to watch if it rains. If it is rainy conditions, look out for the likes of Loveness. And yeah, he really enjoys these conditions, does the Alfa Romeo driver. Inati has set his banker representative lap. All he needs to do is just bring the car home safely. And yeah, he will be in good stead taking part in Q3. And yeah, we'll look forward to a potential good points finish for him. Now, retrospectively, season so far, Inati scored his first points in Australia, finished P10. So he's just got the one championship point as the Aston Martin driver. A lot of work for him to do, but he'll be looking to score decent points here today. Now, Tapiso looks to be on another run. 3.5 minutes of qualifying to go. Let's hop on board with him. He finds himself in Q3 now, having had an initial struggle in the first qualifying session. His tires are 2 laps old, and as you've mentioned, Tindo, a lot of these drivers finding... ooh, hits the wall there.
I'm finding pace as they go around again and again and again.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the tires get warmed up and then they have more grip than I don't know if how he's doing it, but it's him. It's just Seakley. Seakley is Seakley, and he just got a second sector again. It checks. I don't know whether it's a glitch, but looks like he's moving. He has improved his time as well. Like he's really flying. He's flying. And then we're expecting maybe 141 day, 141.1 or 140 actually straight.
Yep. And so far, only Seakley and Lungs in the 1 minute 40s. Oh, Sapiso abandons.
Oh no, baby, just don't wanna waste time, maybe.
Perhaps we'll see him.
That's strange because his times are good.
Yeah. Perhaps he'll just perhaps he's just looking to save these tires if it's going to be a rainy Q3 as well.
Comment here with why Mfundo is on a controller. That's why he crashed. That is a very difficult thing to do. Like if you get yourself used to a steering and you wanna go back to a controller, trust me, you will struggle. You will struggle. Rather stick to your steering. If it's in the rain, find a way of driving it than trying to go back to the controller. That's the worst decision.
Yeah, you're fluctuating between one sort of set of handling characteristics versus the other as far as the steering versus controller debate is concerned. So 9 drivers left in this session, 9 active runners. Seakley tops the timesheets. We have about 90 seconds of this session to go. It doesn't look like any of these guys are going to come out. Seakley tops the timesheets from Lungs, and then Sepultemba and Brown Boy in P3 and 4 respectively. Sapiso in P5 with that 141.6. Zotal in P6. Inati 7th. Esbuda 8th. And then Loveness rounds off the current active runners with that 144.8. And Mfundo, who was actually higher than the likes of Loveness and Inati. His time was 142.7, but he crashed out in Q2.
I want to ask you something, Tyson.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's I think maybe it might be more interesting, like, especially in the tier 1, maybe tier 2 is a different story, but tier 1, like to have a reserve driver, like if someone is not around, someone else can come in and just point for the team, not exactly for the person, but for the team. Like, for instance, like I think I haven't seen Titus racing this season. I haven't seen him on the grid, and we're on the 4th, and it's only, I don't know who is his teammate, I'm not too sure. But don't you think if there's going to be a reserve driver who's just going to come, if scoring points, he might not get a point, but maybe the points will go towards the team? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting, and
I have a full grid at all times. Like we know this is our prime one. This is our prime league. That's the top one, and we just have a full grid. We just have reserve drivers. It can be anyone from tier 2, and then they can come in, fit in for someone else, and then they race.
Chintu yengathi wena ufuna ukuzaba umnyonyobo uvela urace lana. Wena ufuna ukurace ngiyakubona. Ufuna ukuphathela lama rainy conditions ngiyakwazi thina. Ngiyakwazi. Ufuna ukurace ngama backdoor thina.
Bratox, I'm not lying, bro. But what do you think, Bratox? Because just on your point of view, Bratox.
Look, I think it definitely would be interesting, and I do know that there are a lot of Breakaway is a league that takes a lot of work from a lot of people behind the scenes as far as Exco and organizing, making sure things are done, and there are a lot of discussions which do take place. Hopefully,
I understand because I feel like we're going towards like what are the conditions that comes with the real F1, like in real life,
Yeah.
And because now there's certain rules that are coming in now. Oh no, Peter Assis is gonna be off, and all those things. Like that we're changing. As the league is growing and the drivers are improving each and every time. So why can't we also like move towards that in a way that we can have a reserve driver. Each team can have a reserve driver. Each team, like maybe on all those 10 teams we have on the grid, they can actually choose one driver in tier 2. No, I want this one to be my reserve driver. I want this one to be my reserve driver. In case if one is missing, there can always be one person is always on standby to fill up the grid. What do you think?
I think it would be great, and would also pose an interesting challenge to the reserve drivers who are hoping to make the step up one day. But as you say, if it's always so great to have a nice and full grid. And
it's
to see
interesting,
drivers.
Because imagine like now, if let's say there's lot, like for example, like what's happening now because of load shedding,
Yeah.
and all of us we're watching. Let's say like for example, if it was today, we would be watching 10 drivers, all watching a whole Q3 or Q1, Q2, Q3 for full of 10 drivers. It won't be. At least if there's a full crate, we know okay, he's doing it for the team. Like what this guy always does. What is it Huckenberg? I think he's always coming in, and if one is sick, he's always coming in and he fits in. Whatever he does it, and then he's gone. But it's always a reserve driver. He continues with his life somewhere, whatever he's doing outside of F1. But when they need him, they just call him. He comes in and drives.
It definitely would make for an interesting scenario. Definitely, I do agree. And when the grid is full, it always heightens the stakes because there's a lot more people fighting for very few points. And it would make for in terms of the championship, the constructors championship, it would definitely make
championship.
It
might not be the thing, but the constructors, like they come in and then they award the points for him. It can be an extra driver or 20 driver 25 driver 26, but it's gonna make something interesting, like especially for if I get 10 points with me maybe partnering with Buddha. I know okay the team has 10 points, not me. I'm not counted in the league, but it's for the team, for the constructors side.
Absolutely. Very interesting points there. We are now in Q3 on board with Clay, who has topped both Q1 and 2. And in Q2, interestingly, he and Lungs were the only drivers in the 1 minute 40 mark in these rainy conditions. It's been intermediate tires since the beginning of this qualifying session. Oh, Sila has a huge moment, but he corrects that car. He keeps it together. He holds it, and Loveness is crashed out.
Loveness crashed out
in Sector 1. Loveness. Oh, that looks like Loveness' car, which might have been an outlap that Clay just passed. Clay would quite likely be given another go. He slows down, and that means Brown Boy, who was quite close behind him, will carry on here, and he crosses Sector 1, 37.7 for Brown Boy. So definitely one to watch as far as the rest of these drivers are concerned. Nice save. Clay says Pete, aka the Nucho, in the comment section. Let's see how Brown Boy fares in the rest of this second sector. He went 37.7 in Sector 1. By the time he gets to the end of Sector 2, it's another gauntlet that he will lay down because he is the first city representative time. And Brown Boy, who has looked sensational since making his debut, crosses the line 110.059 at the end of Sector 2. So those are the times to beat. As far as initial pace is concerned, Lungs will be very happy with the quality of his teammates. He has challenged Lungs. He has fought alongside Lungs towards the front of the pack since the beginning of the season. As Buddha has crashed out, seemingly, possibly, look at the setting hot lap of time. This is a 140. Reckons crash in the comment section. Look at Brown Boy. Look at the line that he's holding. He sends that car across the line. 140.278. That is a sensational fight by Brown Boy.
That is a challenge for Sith. Let's see what he does. Let me look at Sith. This is 154. No.
But remember, he had backed out. Let's see how Tapiso fares. It's P3, his teammate, Temple Temba, 140.584.
Look at those 140s.
Two for Temple Temba, the two Ferraris. Yep, side by side. Three drivers in the 140s. Seaplay has to give it another go, remember. Crash was spot on with that one. Let's see how Lungs fares. He is on the verge of completing his hot lap attempt here. And he's making his way now. Crash reckons it's going to be 139 for Clay. Will hop on board as a Haas driver in a second. Now, Lung is on the final stretch of track here. He is well and truly off the pace, but it's just a banker lap for him. So he has got his work cut out for him now. Clay needs to respond here. We saw him have that moment just before beginning, just towards the end of Sector 1. Now, what kind of a time will it be? It was a time in the low 110s at the end of Sector 2 for Brown Boy. So what will it be for Clay? 109.2. It's a purple Sector 2. He is moving. He is absolutely quick. Is Clay. Whew, 109.2 by the end of Sector 2 is absolutely sensational. We're looking at a time potentially in the 139s as Crash has predicted. Will he be correct? 6.5 minutes of the qualifying session to go. It's the half
He's
driver.
gonna go for that. He's gonna go for 130. No. What?
Oh, Brown Boy goes in the 120.009. But what about Speedway? He will cross the line 139.698 by a significant margin. The quickest man on this track. That is absolutely scorching, sensational from the champion in that Haas with less than 6 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Brown Boy gave it his all, but it was not enough.
Mina ngazi ukuthi sihle wenza yini le petrol abayifakayo. I-Caltex angazi
khona into ayidlayo nje sihle ngeke.
Ah yeah 139 kanjani izinto zisipare kanje. I mean I understand it.
Yes, it is absolutely incomprehensible.
Yellow
but
flag sector 2.
Sensational.
He's getting quicker again. He's getting quicker again.
Oh, it looks like, is that Inati? Yeah, that's Inati who has crashed in the sector 2. So I don't know if that'll disturb Seaplay. Is he going again? Is anybody?
Yeah.
Ooh, he has to avoid the Aston Martin there,
yes,
but he manages to keep it together. Remember, at the end of sector 2, I think it was a 109.2 last time out. What will it be for Seaplay? We'll get a sense.
I don't think I don't think he'll be quick on this one, because of that.
109.1. Looks like it might have.
I withdraw. I withdraw my statement, comrade. I withdraw.
139.6, and C-Clay kept it going. He felt he still had more in the tank to offer as far as improving on that time is concerned. And it'll take some beating, I'll tell you that. About almost 4/10 quicker than the closest competitor, that being Brown Boy. And this time, C-Clay will cross the line with a 139.220, quicker by a factor of almost 8/10 from Brown Boy, who himself was sensational.
Catch me if you can. This is the statement he's making right now.
That is absolutely phenomenal from the champion, the Haas driver. Wow. As there's a bit of a raging debate in the comment section.
But I feel like, I don't know why the guys. I don't see the reason why he should put new tires. I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong. I stand to be corrected. And because I think the older the tires are, the quicker they get. Because like these guys who are getting new tires, putting new tires, they're gonna be cold. They're gonna take time to heat up and all those things because it's raining. So let's just see. Maybe they might prove me wrong, but let's see how it goes. But like Sita is getting quicker and quicker. I don't know if he is on the first lap now, but he's getting quicker the older the tires are.
Yep, he has just kept the car on track. He fueled up for a run of consecutive laps, and he looks to be getting more and more comfortable. Is Sinclair, someone who is looking to disturb the peace, to disturb the comfort, to disturb the P1 spot, is Lungs, Brown Boy's teammate, making his way now through the first sector. P4 is the representative. Is the best that his representative time to give him, making his way now towards the end. As a huge moment comes off the track there, that'll compromise his attempt, but it's still a 37.5. So that section of the track is kind as far as track limited validations is concerned. So we'll get a sense of whether or not Lungs is going to carry on here and look to improve. Sequely is still out on track. Brown Boy, Tempo Temba are coming back. Looking to make their own mark. They're on those outlaps are the Red Bull and the Ferrari drivers, and pretty much everyone else is on another attempt here to disturb the peace of Steve Clay, who has finally come back to the pits. That 139.2 will take some beating. Let's see how Lungs fares here. He begins sector 3. Yes, Kaposa, it is raining. Lungs slams the brakes, and he abandons. It looks like Lungs is going to give it another shot. And while he does that, let's see how Seppo Temba fares in his La Hurrah as far as his qualifying session is concerned. Seppo Temba, sector 1. Will it be in the 37s? Yes, 37.6. It's 3/10 quicker than his best time thus far. So he is definitely on a upward trajectory as far as self-improvement is concerned. We're on board with the Ferrari driver here. Sector 2. Will there be a time in the 109? Because that will definitely throw cat among the pigeons. Ooh, as a bit of a moment. Ooh, sent it into the wall.
Wingless.
And that wing is gone. Seppo Temba was on the limit, but pushed it too far. Unfortunately, that ends his prospects of challenging that pole position. Now, who else is on a run? Lungs has just gone wide, the same portion of the track that we saw him earlier on. All right, let's hop on board with the Alpine driver, currently P6. 55 seconds of this session to go. That is the time that these drivers will have to cross the line and begin their final attempt at a hot lap here. Now, Zotal is on the verge of potentially challenging here in these super wet conditions. Intermediate tires. He comes through here in 5th gear. Remember, if the end of his first sector is in the mid 37 seconds, then that'll be quite competitive.
Wow.
37.8.
He's actually improving. He's improving on his top 3 from him there. Let's see. He's another guy who's a silent killer now. He's becoming like Abo Alonso, you know, when you don't expect him. At least he performs in the rain as well. So, yeah, he's
Cepiso looks to have, not sure if he retired on the pits or on track, Cepiso. Yeah, we're on board now with Brown Boy seemingly has crashed out. So 109.7 at the end of Sector 2 for Zotal. Has a bit of a moment coming out of that corner. Ooh, Zotal with Cepiso and Brown Boy having crashed out. It's a potential opportunity, but he will have a lot to make up in this third and final sector out here at a rainy Jeddah track. He goes past the wreckage of another car, and he points that Alpine down on the main straight. It's Zotal who will be among the last to cross the line and set a representative time.
140.7. 140.7.
140.7. I think that might have sent him up to P5. Yes, it's a P5, P5. For Zotal, and that is your grid for the start of this race. Seatley with that sensational 139.2, flanked by Brown Boy on the front row, 140.009, and Seppo Temba and Lungs are the makeup of the second row. The two Red Bulls in the first and second row, respectively. P4 for Lungs. Zotal will start P5. Cepiso, P6. Inati, 7th. Loveness, P8. S. Buddha, P9 in this session. Ha! Woo! Will it be dry conditions? If it stays wet, who do you reckon can take this? If it's dry, does that change your predictions? Let us know in the comment section as I catch up to that crash saying, oh, that was unfortunate. That was a great lap. Possibly speaking about Seppo Temba's attempt there, which was ended by that moment into the wall. Brown Boy will jump Seakley at the start. That is the... is how Malusi the Malusi sees things panning out at the beginning of this race here. Well, how interesting would that be now? That is your grid. These are your drivers to take part in this session. And Tindo, looks like your car might be represented here, so you might have to drive it straight into the pits and retire there. And if you've just joined us, it is Seakley on pole, flanked by Brown Boy. In Jeddah.
Whoa. Why is it giving me a car, though?
It's dry. So the drivers will breathe a sigh of relief. But of course, park firming conditions.
Look at this thing. It gave me a car. Oh, because I came in late, I forgot to spectate.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to retire when it starts.
Yeah. But if you could bring it into the
pits.
Yeah, into the pits. Otherwise, I think it might bring out a VSC. Okay. Mello reckons that Brown Boy will pip Seakley to the lead, potentially finding himself leading this race before we get to the end of, turn 3, that initial sequence of corners. Looks like XD, I think that will be Sanley Mazansi, agreeing with Mello. 14 seconds! Welcome to Jeddah!
We are in Jeddah. It's gonna be really, really an interesting race.
Absolutely. What about tire strategy now? You know, it's a fast track. Sense of what these drivers are thinking. Two of them on softs. That would be Zotal and Josh, aka Damnesia, have opted for a soft compound of tires. Most of the grid.
The guys mustn't think I'm racing here because I think I need to retire the car.
Yeah.
Because if I retire on the track, it won't look nice. I don't think so.
Yeah, and it might bring out
yeah,
an early safety car. So I don't know if if it's a matter of retire. I think if you'd retire now, it'd still.
You'd still come back on the grid, yeah.
Yeah, so you might have to bring it around and retire in that first lap. Now, these drivers are warming up those tires, and you'll see them weaving to the left and the right, trying to get that tire temperature up to be in the optimum working condition by the start of this race. Sequay is in a very familiar position at the head of this field, and Brown Boy follows suit. Sensational start to the season for the debutant. He's brand new in Tier 1, but he's no stranger to absolutely turning it on and just putting in sensational efforts as far as his race pedigree is concerned. So Brown Boy will start in P2. Seppo Temba also in the medium tires alongside Lungs. What a battle that's going to be at the start of this race. And that dash to turn 1 is going to be absolutely interesting. We saw the turn 1 melee and drama in the Tier 3 race last night. And, Tier 1 being Tier 1, perhaps it'll be a slightly cleaner affair in that scrap to gain an advantage at the beginning of this race. I'm not sure why Van Kobe is running so far behind the pack, but he's likely to catch up.
I think he's disqualified, so this car will just be on track, you know.
All right, as Buddha is here, it's a P9 for him. The hopes of Williams rest on his shoulder. No Caboza. No Caboza to work alongside him. Fundo will start in P10. He crashed out, unfortunately for him, and did not make some headway in
I can't go in the pit now and retire. You think it might cause something?
I suppose it's worth a shot, but if your car comes back, then then you could well and just truly bring it back into the pits during lap 1. All right. Now a couple of drivers not exactly nailing their positioning. Look like Mandla got it right, and Tindo, who will soon retire, will have to adjust accordingly. Now, it is lap 1 of 25 on the cards. Welcome to Jeddah, one of the most sensational super fast street circuits. It is 5 lights. It is lights out as we hope to get a better angle in the scramble towards turn 1. And look at that. C-Clays managed to keep Prompo and Tempa at bay coming through turns 1 and 2. He's still in the lead. Tempa goes in the outside of Brown Boy. Can he get the move done? Brown Boy, he's hanging on to C-Clays coattail. Tempa is in the lead. C-Clays race starts, which have killed him or killed his prospects, have come back to bite him once again. But C-Clays will have to recover Tempa. That was a sensational double overtake on C-Clay and Brown Boy. Brown Boy tried to hang on to the back of the hat, but instead Seppo Temba took full advantage of one of the outside of both of them. So both these guys will look to reclaim that advantage. Medium tires for all of these guys, with the exception of Damn Ninja and Zotal, who's running in P5 and P7 respectively. It's the dash towards the beginning of Sector 3. Let's see how these guys will fare. Seppo Temba comes through it cleanly. C-Clay will bide his time and hang on to that DRS, knowing that the advantage is there for the taking potentially if he can hang on. Now 6/10 separates P1 and 2, and these top 3 drivers have managed to build a gap of about 1.3 seconds between themselves and Josh in P5. Zotal and Lungs are looking to have a titanic battle before the end of lap 1 here. He is on the outside of the Red Bull. He thinks about it. He's using that ERS, and the Red Bull breaks later. Zotal has to go even wider on the outside, and yes, he gets that move done. Zotal is up to P6. Those soft tires, that grip absolutely crucial at this stage of the race. Let's go back to the battle for the race lead now. Bromboy on the coattails, and Zotal has even overtaken Zapiso. So right now, he is right behind Josh, aka Damnesia. The two soft tire runners on the hot on the tails of these front runners. Ooh, Sikle has a bit of a moment coming over that curve, and Seppo Temba keeps it together. The gap between P1 and P2 is about half a second. Ooh, Bromboy has a bit of a moment and loses momentum to the half there. Yeah, the yellow flag is Sikle, Zed of Tindo retiring, so don't pay no mind to that. It is Bromboy versus Sikle versus Seppo Temba in lap 2 of 25 in Jeddah. If you've just joined us, welcome. We have battle after battle after battle in Prospect, and it is looking absolutely sensational in Prospect. Let's look at position changes. It looks like I just want to get the position change. It looks like Mandla might have been no, someone who dropped. No, he's on P13, so it's not too big of a drop. Damnesia on those soft tires is the big mover, as Crash reckons that Bromboy is a big boy. He can roll with the big boys and hold his own here in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Looking absolutely sensational, chasing the back of that Haas of Sikle, who is again the sole member of his team running here today. He's got no help from Enlevo. Now Esbuda is fighting with Lungs, who has struggled at the beginning of this race, was overtaken by Zotal, remember, and now Esbuda will have the line on Lungs. He goes past, as does Loveness. Potentially, Loveness is now right on the back of the Red Bull as they hurdle down to turn 1. Ooh, it's a hectic DRS straight. Ooh, Loveness is very aggressive. Almost goes into the back of the Red Bull. Lungs has to go wide to compensate. He could feel the heat from the Alfa Romeo, and he gets that move done, does Loveness, before the end of the first sector. So Lungs, who had such an incredible position, has dropped 5 places. It's been a nightmare start for the Red Bull. And, of course, opposed to his teammate, who was fighting it out for the battle for the lead here. Now, Ban Kobe is coming to the pits as Inati becomes the first driver to rack up a time penalty here.
Look at Josh. Josh has gained 8 places. 8 places. Josh is just good. I think his stats are doing good for him. You know, like, every time it's almost every 4 races I've had with him, he's been having a great stats, you know, and he's already on the back of Bromboy, like he's right sitting there.
As I say that, let's get back to this battle. This beautiful helicopter shot, the battle between Esbuda, Loveness, and Lungs, who is open now to hang on to the coattails. Ooh, Loveness so late on the brakes. Look how close he comes to the back of Esbuda over there. Meanwhile, the battle for the race lead, it looks like Sikle is on the verge of an overtake. I know there was so many titanic battles taking place. Bromboy has the inside line of the hat, and he's absolutely nailing that DRS to Sikle. They all have DRS. Sikle opens up that DRS, and Bromboy is right on his tail. The quickest man on track is Bromboy. Loveness crashes. That battle taking place lower down on the standings sees Loveness become the first driver to crash out. And the safety car seems to have come out. We could take a breather because this battle between the top 3 was absolutely sensational. We switched there because it looked like Cisa was on the verge of an overtake. And the battle between Esbuda, Lungs, Tepiso, and Loveness has ended in the Alfa Romeo driver crashing out, meaning Josh, aka Damnesia, is now the sole runner for that team. Bad season start for McLaren, absolutely. Ban Kobe, who had pitted before the safety car came out, has opted to put on a set of hard compound tires.
What do you do?
Has Mandla.
Do you pit?
Oh, look at that. Mandla coming out of the pit lane almost totals his car completely. He had just pitted. Oh, Mandla, and there goes the wing, the Alpha Tauri of Mandla.
uMandla angazi kwenzakalani ish ile accelerator man ish angazi ukuthi ukushothi carburetor kanjani mara ish uMandla
amandla maningi unamandla maningi so
angazi
uyakhohlwa
maybe unevasi maqeda lapho wanyathela kakhulu wanyathela amafutha unganyathela amafutha kangaka manje.
Yeah, Mandla having a huge moment there.
ushayeleni izulu nje mhlamba wazi angahambe kancane ngaphandle.
Yeah, huge moment on the pit exit. And remember, the hard tires do take some working as far as tire temperature is concerned. So Van Kobe is now slowing down to watch his delta. He's going to know that all he has to do is keep it together here, and he could find himself in the points eventually as the grid is about to get backed up. Now, The race leader is still Seppo Temba. Looks like he was running a dummy there. Did not come into the pits. Neither did Seakley and Brown Boy. But Josh, aka Damnesia, who started on a soft compound of tires, is coming into the pit, as is Zotal, it seems. And that'll promote the likes
What's happening with Bangobi? He's been struggling, you know, like what's going on with him, Bangobi? Ever since he left Melo, Melo, he was his secret weapon, I guess, because he was bossing out. Like now, you can see, you know, like when it's like when you compare with football, you know, when a player moves from a certain club to a certain club, and he's been dominating at Chelsea, for example, like Hazard, he goes to Real Madrid, is nowhere to be seen. Now that's what's happening to Bangobi right now, because he is. Hey, I don't know.
He's definitely. I suppose that sometimes it can be a patchy driver because you can have sort of patches of really good form and then go through a spurt where that was the case. That was the case last season. He started off fairly positively, and then he went through quite a lull in the middle part of the season, some DNFs, some crashes.
And then I feel like Melo had something on him, like he was doing something on him to keep him on the. Because now you can see now he's exposed now because now he's the main guy in McLaren and nothing is happening. You know, like there's no results that are coming out. It's like Daniel Ricciardo with Red Bull, and then the next thing is that McLaren he can't even pass. Who is struggling to pass? What's his boy's name? From Williams, Latifi. Time will tell. Time will tell. At least I think he's finished. If we look at his season so far, Van Kobe, it's been 2 DNFs, and he finished 5th in Monaco. So definitely got his work cut out. Mandla came back into the pits, and he opted for a set of medium compound tires. These look to be 3 laps old, so these are used mediums that he's opted for under safety car. Maybe Bangobi is not used to a McLaren because Mercedes was a more upgraded car than McLaren, just going to a basic steering, basic wheels.
He dominated Tier 2, was one of the best performers in Tier 2 in the McLaren back in the day.
And back in the day, but I don't think if he comes back now, he's going to dominate like how he did in that time 2 years back, you know, because this time it's a different structure. There's different drivers. There's good drivers actually in Tier 2 this season.
Yep. And
it's going to be very, very competitive. We don't have, except for Django, we don't have anyone who can say, no, it's guaranteed. Even myself, I'm not counting myself, because the guys are flying, you know.
Yeah. It's not the easiest of tiers, not the easiest of leagues, absolutely. Now we're waiting for Mandela to catch up to this safety car train, if you will. And as you can see in the bottom right of your screen, he's not too far behind the P12 running Mshengu, who opted for a set of soft tires, interestingly. So Mshengu is just looking to overtake, get as many overtakes as he possibly can at this juncture. So we'll see how he will fare by the time this race gets back underway properly. Now, Romeo, aka Mandla, can see the back of the pack, and hopefully race control will give the notice that the safety car will soon be coming in. Seppo Temba leads from Seakley and Brown Boy. These 3 have looked absolutely sensational since the start of this race. Sapiso has taken advantage of the safety car and some drivers coming into the pits, and now has track position advantage of P4 for the Ferrari. So he can pretty much is in touching distance. Well,
there's no load shed. What's his name? XD saying Tindo's Keller, he played load shedding. No, there's no load shedding. You know where I am. You know, we are mourning the Queen here, so they left the power on for us. So I don't know if you guys are also in Commonwealth province. There's no electricity that's going.
Durban is a key part of the Commonwealth.
It's a key part of the Commonwealth, so we are mourning the Queen here, so everything is dark, but not electricity, you know.
Okay, I was saying my Queen's cake again. I'm a cake and yarn. I was saying a camera banda. It's a camera yarn.
What was that? I'm going to Pratox.
In American lab, and yes, if you can, you can use.
uhambisile asihambise uyodayisa nje lapho Bratrox Royal Palace udayisa amakhekhe.
Hey, so there's some maybe so pila nyana lapha ephelele.
The safety car is in this lap as Mfundo has a coming together and racks up a 5-second time penalty for having had a bit of a collision. Seppo Temba looks to catch them off guard. Look at that. 8/10 as they hurtle towards turn 1 and Seakley responds in turn by nailing their battery, but Brown Boy looks to go side to side. Coming into turn 1, will he? No, he does not get that move close enough. Seppo Temba stealing a march on these front runners here. And what about the Piso behind Brown Boy? Oh, that gap is about a second already. Brown Boy looking absolutely sensational at this restart, as he has done throughout this race so far. Lap 7 of 25. Welcome to Jeddah if you've just joined us. It's been a sensational, dramatic qualifying in the rain, but now in race conditions, it is dry. And we have Seakley, the championship leader, looking to have a stay on the race lead here potentially. It's been a titanic battle between these three. Let's see if Brown Boy can make his mark in prospect. Lap 7 of 25, 6/10, the gap between P2 and 3. Brown Boy points that car oh so sweetly, hits the apexes without much fuss, and he just looks to hang on to the coattails of that ass, which is oh so sweetly clinging on to the corners of its own accord there. Look how much battery power Brown Boy is having to use to keep in touch of Seakley. Brown Boy is the quickest man through Sector 2 as a result. Trying to hang on to these cars now. In a couple of laps' time, DRS will be re-established and we will get this race going well and truly properly as far as overtakes are concerned. Speaking of potential overtakes, it looks like Zotao might be on the verge of a move on Inati. Look at that. Oh, man. Almost 4 cars coming into that corner. Ooh, Zotao. Mfundo goes on the inside. And it looks like he was pipped by Loveless there. And Mfundo is dropping. And Mfundo looks like he comes into the pits there. What about Zotao in this battle? He has to contend with Ban Kobe behind him. Zotao looks to peek around the outside of the Aston Martin, but he does not get that move done. Ban Kobe, meanwhile, on those less grippy or hard tires, which might take a while to warm up, has found himself in the reckoning here. This battle for P7, if you will, didn't catch up. Now, the battle for the race lead, meanwhile, looks like Seakley is within touching distance. He can smell.
Ever since I've seen Seakley racing, I've never seen him using ERS. But today, he's pressing that he wants to move. He wants to do the move as quick as possible. But now, Temba has a different strategy. You know, the Ferrari, I'm praying that he doesn't blow the engine, because I know how they are, the Ferraris. Because he's going to feel pressure and then he's going to panic. He's going to end up crashing or making a mistake. Because now Sita is using his ERS left and right this time.
Yeah. So these track conditions as Seppo Temba goes wide there, he loses all that ground, bringing Seakley to within just under 2/10 at that point. Seppo Temba will of course look to use as much of his ERS as possible. He's got about 60% worth of battery power concerned, which is has a bit of a snap there. And how much momentum will that give him? It is the main straight, and Seakley will be able to smell this potential overtake now. DRS has been enabled now, so on this stretch of track, Seakley didn't necessarily have it.
What happens? Inati.
Did he have a spin?
Yeah, he had a spin.
Now we're still.
I think about pants Bambi's and they are way left. I was up with Foxialan.
Bayafuna ukuthi ethu nosifike ifuna le P1 ekuthe Temba to uya left ya right
Yes, he is blind indeed. Of course, blind meaning something different in the South African context. But it's Seakley in P2 here. He's about a 10th off the Ferrari driver here in lap 9 of 25 as they make their way through the second sector. Intriguingly, satisfying. Brown Boy is still here. Yes, Indo.
Sister needs to be careful. In a way, because the guy might brake and then he might bump into the back of the car. He will damage his wing. So he needs to be very, very cautious. He's going to have DRS. I think he has to wait, be patient. That's actually.
He really does, and Brown Boy, of course, has front row seats to that action Let's go back to Seaclay because Brown Boy, coming out of that sequence of corners, has fallen behind by a factor of a couple of tenths. And Fundo, it's not looking good for him, but Seaclay has DRS. Seaclay has the outside line. Seaclay is almost side by side, but no, not on my watch, says Tempo Temba. And coming on to that final turn towards the main straight, Brown Boy is going to have to use every inch, every ounce of battery power that he has left. Seaclay can smell the overtake going into turn one. He tucks into the inside, he's side by side, and he is through. Seaclay leads this race in lap 10 of 25. The Haas driver has bided his time, and right now he is back in front. Familiar territory for the Haas driver. If you're a Haas fan in this league, if you're a Seaclay fan, you will be cheering that absolutely sensational overtake that Seaclay managed to get done. And as Seaclay does that, he now consigns Tempo Temba to contend with Brown Boy. Brown Boy's your problem. That is what Seaclay is saying to Tempo Temba. But Tempo Temba, we saw, did not go down without a fight. It's Destiny Action Night right here on Breakaway League Racing, and he will have his work cut out for him. But at least now Tempo Temba will have the advantage, if he can hang on to it, of using DRS. Now, a nightmare scenario for these two is that Seaclay manages to break the DRS, so that is what these two are fighting against. And as I say that, Seaclay has extended his advantage to a second, and Tempo Temba's battery light is flashing. He is down to within less than 10% of his battery. Oh, Brown Boy has to break late there, and Tempo Temba has a bit of a moment there, and that will see them, both these cars, lose ground, lose advantage. This battle for the race lead is absolutely sensational as Brown Boy is looking to get some sort of an advantage. Meanwhile, it is Zotal versus Josh, aka Damnesia, down in P7 and P8 respectively. What can Josh do? He was just overtaken by Zotal. He will not take kindly to that. We know how aggressive Josh is. He tucks him to the inside of the Alpine, and will they make contact? No, Zotal gives him enough room there, and Josh, aka Damnesia, gets that move done. He's back up to P7. Zotal is not like that. Medium tires, DRS, ERS. He is absolutely pumping that battery, and Josh's battery power is down to below 10%, and Zotal has to contend with the outside line as Josh, Damnesia, holds firm, holds tight. And as these two battle, that means Ban Kobe is on the verge here of being a part of this absolutely sensational Titanic battle. Romeo, aka Mandla, finds himself in the reckoning for a potential points finish. Lap 11 of 25. He is. Let's hop on board with the McLaren driver now. Ooh, has a huge moment. Rasha Ferreira reckons, yeah, boy, Seaclay for the win. Cheering on the Haas driver who just executed a sensational overtake. Lap 11 of 25. Ban Kobe's light is flashing.
Oh, Brown Boy is past Tempo Temba.
Oh, Brown Boy and Tempo Temba. Yeah, so those two have swapped places as we were watching the action a little bit further down the grid. Let's go back to the action over there now.
Is cutting those corners, yo.
Ban Kobe cutting corners, looking to reclaim an advantage. And as we hopped on board there, at the end of Sector 2, this man, Brown Boy, a.k.a. Msika, was the quickest man through Sector 2. Purple Sector 2 for Brown Boy. Let's see now how he fares.
He's actually closing on.
4/10, and they both come into the pits.
Same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do like I do. Whatever you do, I will do. Now, it's been medium compounds for Seaclay and Brown Boy thus far. Tempo Temba reclaims the race lead as a result. Let's see what these two will opt for. In lap 12, Seaclay puts on hard compound tires, and Brown Boy follows suit. They're still right behind each other, and yeah, they will take those hards to the end, and Seaclay will come out just behind Mandla. Romeo, he has 70% worth of battery power. Brown Boy's been sensational. And remember, Seaclay and Brown Boy will have their work cut out for them to try and get some tire temperature into these hards. Meanwhile, Romeo, aka Mandla, has 10-lap-old medium tires and the advantage, of course, of tire temperature. But as things look, Seaclay is looking to waste no time, and he's going to look to take advantage of the first DRS section that they come across. Mandla, how much defensive work can he do over here? And remember, the more that Mandla slows Seaclay up, then that potentially gives Tempo Temba a good overcut, as Crash notes.
True.
Now,
and also they need to be careful, man, that dead braking. You always want them. They need to be careful with him, and especially on the corners, because he might brake Very hard, and then you crash.
As he does that, Sika goes on the outside, and he gets the move done. So Mandler has to adjust his line, and now Brown Boy has to get this move done. He cannot afford to fall too far behind. Brown Boy gets almost that move done. He's side by side. Look at that beautiful overhead shot, and he gets ahead of the Alpha Tower E of Mandler, aka Romeo. Tempo Temba has come into the pits. Tempo Temba is now in the pits. Lungs and Tapiso lead the race. What will that do as far as the race lead is concerned? Seaclay is on the main straight. Doesn't look like that overcut is going to be good for Tempo Temba. These two are pretty much, they have passed Tempo Temba. He will come out behind them, right behind them, in fact. It's P1, 2, and 3 for the three contenders who have pretty much been the protagonists of this race lead. The battle for the race lead.
Brown Boy just bumped into the wall there. On that corner there, he's trying to go so close to it now, he just went straight to the wall.
Brown
Boy. See, he lost so much time on Seaclay, you can see.
Yeah, it's about 1.3 seconds now, the gap between Seaclay and Brown Boy. So that little moment that Brown Boy just had compromises him, and Seppo Temba, who's hoping for an overcut.
Hopefully he didn't damage the body of the car.
Yeah.
Hopefully he didn't damage the body of the car.
Yep, that is what this man, Brown Boy, will be hoping. And Seppo Temba now has to contend with trying to get these hard tires up to optimum temperature. So he's got his work cut out for him. What about M. Shengu down in P12? His battle is with
Josh. Brakeaway and Josh.
Brakeaway and Josh. Let's get back to them. The McLaren right on the back of the Alfa Romeo. They had a titanic clash in Australia. Let's see if Brakeaway can get it done. He's on the outside. It's an absolutely audacious attempt. Ooh, Brakeaway. They make a little bit of contact, but not fatal contact as far as their prospects is concerned. And Brakeaway was side by side, but he conceded. Both their batteries are down to within less than 10%. And Seaclay is the fastest man on track. He gets that purple lap.
Oh, okay.
And Fundo is crashed out, and Fundo is retired from the race, lap 14 of 25. The safety car is back. The safety car is out again, and that'll be beautiful news to Tapiso, to Zotile. And Fundo becomes the third driver we have lost today, or rather the second driver. And
but now it's making it interesting now, because Josh can take this tire to the end, and Brakeaway as well can take this tire to the end. It's all about driving now.
Yep.
I don't know if they pit now, but if they don't pit, they can literally take this tires to the end.
Most of this grid is on those hard compound tires. Now, Lungs pitted just before the safety car came out, and Crash reckons that most of these guys should just pit for mediums rather than having to contend with that.
But now, what about those the ones that didn't pit for that? They can go on soft. Do you think you can do 10 laps on soft?
I mean, conceivably, we'll have at least maybe a couple of laps on under the safety car.
I think Zota might want to stay out, but hey, he's gonna have to do like 19 laps or 20 laps on those mediums. That'll be some Titus genius there.
Yeah, we have 11 laps of this race to go. Tapiso, who led, courtesy of the guys having pitted. Has a moment, hits the pit wall there, and was praying not to get a penalty for speeding. The Ferrari team is out, and they will slap on a set of hard tires for him. De Amnesia into the pits. He was on hards. What will he do? Seppo Temba carries on. It's mediums for Damnesia and Brakeaway. And Brown Boy had to change wings, and that compromises his fight for a potential race win here. But he will look to fight his way back down from P10 or so. Yeah, so Brown Boy he had a damaged wing. He just changed his wing in the pit. And what was looking to be a potentially memorable battle for the race win.
Brown Boy, like the guys were saying in the group, with Brown Boy is Leclerc. He's very quick. I think maybe when it comes to race, whether it's the pressure, I don't know, or what is it, because it's like he just loses it all. Because almost every race, he's been on the top 3 or maybe top 2 when it comes to qualifying. But when it comes to race, you'll find him there fighting with Omadla. You know, it's pretty. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, in Belgium, he of course was absolutely sensational in qualifying, but he managed to hang on as far as using his qualifying advantage. He finished in P3. He finished on the podium in Belgium.
P3. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and in Monaco, he finished P7, and then load shedding compromised his participation in Australia. So it's been a solid start. He went back to his used mediums, did Brown Boy?
Yeah, because his mediums are 11 laps old.
Yeah.
I don't know why he did that. He should have gone to, I think soft would have been better, you know, because there's 2 laps that's going to be with the safety car, and it's going to delay. And maybe on lap 17, it's going to have 8 laps maybe to race only.
Yep, and Ben Kobe, as Liddy is mentioning, 2-lap old medium tires. Those used set for him as well.
Yeah, I think he crashed in the first lap, so that's why he
came in.
He just used, he came in and then he changed the tires, and then because I think when the safety car came out, his hard tires were 13 laps old, so that's why he went back to pit again. He can go to the end though.
Definitely in a very good position, as is this man, Josh, aka Damnesia, who went with the alternate strategy, starting on the soft tires, and now finds himself on a brand new
set coming to
of
pits?
medium tires.
Who's coming to the pits? Is it Lungs? Brown Boy again? Why?
Brown Boy?
I'm sure he's going for soft now. He's going for soft. Because he can catch up the safety car again, but he's going for soft.
Oh, hard! As you say that, he slaps on, he goes back onto his hard compound tires.
Why, Brown Boy?
Perhaps he just doesn't, doesn't trust that they'll be fine towards the end. Because, as Melo says, they won't be durable towards the end.
No, they are durable, Melo. You can do it. That's only how many laps left now? It's going to be 8 laps. You can't tell me you can't do 8 laps on soft.
At this track...
Because if mediums are going for almost, look at Zota, is on 11 laps already. He's going to the end, so he's not going to pit.
Now, let's also take a look at the stops. Everybody has had one stop with the exception of Josh, aka Damnesia, who stopped twice, as has Ban Kobe and M. Shengu, as well as Inati. Romeo, aka Mandla, and Brown Boy and Sika have each had 3 stops each. Of course, their races have been affected by taken body damage and having to exchange wings there.
He's always fighting 2 points. 1 point, 2, 1, 2, 1.
It all adds up. It all adds up. You know, he has his races where he's definitely more comfortable. That's where he'll look to take more than your odd 2 or so points. But I suppose maybe he's thinking of the tracks where he's not so strong, if he can, rack up those little points.
But you should be racking up points. You should be racking up points in the tracks like this. Because the other tracks, they are tricky. You know, you can't just turn out want to be the person who wants to turn up in the end. At least at this time, you should be racking up points. And the tracks that are strong, that coming in the end, you are in a safe position, because now you're just gonna putting yourself under pressure, and the guys will be going. It's only that he's lucky, because Funabo Inati, I don't know what's happening with him, because Inati was so dominant last season. I don't know what's happening.
The safety car has come in, Tindo. We're gonna have to pick that one up. It is Zotal versus Seatley for the race lead. That is the battle coming into turn 1. Zotal manages to hang on those old medium compound tires.
Who just spun?
Perhaps Zotal, it looks like, is it Buddha who spun? Lungs is also falling down the pecking order as this battle for the race lead.
Manda followed the suit. I told you. Manda, oh Lord.
Mandla having a nightmare out here in Jeddah, but let's hop on board with Tempo Temba. It's front row seat as he watches the Zotal and Seatley fight for the race lead. Roster Ferreira cheering on half cheering on Cicle. Will he be cheering on a race victory at the end? Well, time will tell. It's lap 17 of 25. Zoltal is a sitting duck on those old mediums. Reckons Longello in the comments section. Absolutely. And this is the front row seat that we have from the perspective of Teppo Temba. As Buddha will be kicking himself, having spun out and finding himself at the back of his pack, as will Mambla. Hopefully for them, they won't have to come back into the pits to change wings. And Teppo Temba is being circumspect with his battery usage here, 81%. He's just hoping to hang on to the coattails of these top two and then only use his battery perhaps in a defensive context. But now Cicle is really on the verge of a sensational overtake here towards the end of lap 17, but he does not get that move done as yet. He is still right on Zoltal's coattails. Zoltal weaves to the left, to the right, trying to break that toe, but Cicle is going to be right on his toes, right on his back, right on his neck. Coming into turn one, will he get it done? No is the answer. Teppo Temba hanging on. The top three have stretched their gap to P4, to Piso, by about 1.1 seconds.
1.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Actually. And Zoltal is actually quick. You know, he was actually the quickest man on the last sector as well. And now he's opening the gap, 5-6. You can see, I think he's managing these tires. He's becoming Lewis Hamilton now. You know, you see his tires are dying, but he's actually quick.
Looking absolutely sensational as Josh gets a 3-second time penalty. That will have huge ramifications on his battle towards the end of this race here. So let's just see how Cicle fares in this battle with Zoltal. It's the battle for the race lead. The two Ferraris are falling a little bit further back here. Teppo Temba wasn't touching distance, but coming through sector 1 there, he's fallen, and now the gap between Cicle and Teppo is about 1.6 seconds. So some work to do for the two Ferraris.
Teppo is closing on. Teppo is closing on Teppo Temba though, because it's like the gap was about 1 point something, but now it's on 6 tenths now.
That is, oh, he's about to be caught by Josh. Look at that. He's side by side as Josh. Aggressive move once again. And he's on the outside as Josh. Ooh, he risky move and he gets that move done. Josh is now up to P4.
What a drive from Josh. What a drive.
As DRS is enabled, Josh now has the second Ferrari in his sights. He's on the outside again. They're side by side, and Josh is ahead, and he gets that move done. It's P3, a potential podium spot for Josh. But so long to go. Teppo Temba fights back. He's on the outside of Josh, and Teppo Temba gets the move done again. It's P3 for the Ferrari. Josh has to concede, come into that sequence of corners, and this battle has brought Piso, Lungs, and even Brown Boy into the reckoning. What a huge battle we have here. They're side by side. Will they make contact? No. Josh is getting that advantage, and he hangs on to P4. Teppo Temba is back in his sights again. What an absolutely sensational battle we're watching here.
It's really, really interesting. Yes, like it's really. I don't know which one to watch now because all of them are so interesting.
All of them are absolutely sensational. And this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way battle is just absolutely
6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You absolutely cannot call it. Meanwhile, at the front, it looks like Cicle might just be hanging on to the lead, hoping maybe that Zoltal uses up as much of his battery as possible. Cicle has not got that overtake done as yet.
Oh, sector 1. What happened was just fun. Spuda again. Come on, Spuda.
Look at this battle. Looks like Cicle might be side by side with Zoltal. Cicle's on the inside. He thought about it, but no, he could not get that move done. Absolutely sensational stuff. Battles at the front, battles all over. Zoltal is looking to break the toe. Cicle almost hits the wall as a result, but Zoltal sends that car screaming towards turn 1. Cicle has ERS, he has DRS, he tucks on the inside, they're side by side, and Cicle finally gets the move done in lap 20 of 25, and with those old medium tires that Zoltal is running, Cicle will look to build an advantage, hang on to the advantage, and assert his dominance for a potential race win here in Jeddah. Sensational stuff from these top two drivers. Remember, Zoltal...
Josh managed to pass to TT. He's now on P3.
Josh and Teppo Temba have had a titanic...
And look at Brown Boy. Look at Brown Boy. That boy was in the back. Now he's...
Ooh, Josh goes wide. Oh, Teppo Temba goes wide as Brown Boy will gain an advantage there. We're watching Brown Boy, who now leads his teammates by a factor of a couple of tenths of a second. But
I
now...
think that was the team orders there.
Yeah.
And I thought, you are quicker. Let me just go, Baba. Just go get them.
Bromboy has front row seats to this epic battle between Josh, aka Damnesia, and September in P3 and 4 respectively. But remember, Damnesia has that time penalty to contend with. So all September and Bromboy need to do is hang on here. Inati racks up time penalty once again. And it looks like September is side by side now with the Bromboy. With Josh, and he goes on the outside, and he's ahead, coming into the final corner, but Josh hangs on to the inside, and September has to concede. Of course, he does not want to run into the back of that Alfa Romeo, but that battle means that this man, Bromboy, is right back in the reckoning. 25% worth of his battery, as September has got that move done, and Bromboy thought about it, but he had to concede coming into turn 1, and Josh is fighting.
You were supposed to make it interesting. You were supposed to make it interesting on that corner. The 3 cars at once.
He's fighting with everything he's got. Is Josh, despite the time penalty, Bromboy just wants to dispatch of Josh here and make this a fight between himself and September for that last podium spot, considering the time penalty that Josh has.
If you notice that the more they fight, the more the front 2 are running away.
The more the front 2 are running away,
and it's actually playing in favor of Zotile actually with these 4 tires, because they're not closing that gap. It's been on 2.7 there for a while. The more, and now Zotile is opening the gap again. It's 2.98.
Yep, that is absolutely the case, and I agree with you, Crash. We needed Mello and Kaboza here. What a titanic battle that would have been within this DRS train with 4 laps of racing to go. It's Bromboy that we're on board now, chasing Josh, aka Damnesia. And as you say that, the gap between P2 and 3 is a whole 3 seconds. And behind Bromboy, remember, it's his teammate Lung, who is hoping to keep Daviso at bay. Oh, Josh just made a move, and he's up. He's trying to get the move down.
It's going to have a DRS again. It's going to have a DRS again.
And Bromboy also will have DRS. Bromboy goes side by side with September. Will he get the move down? The answer is yes. And Bromboy is now up to P4. And he's going to be a double overtake coming into turn 1. Josh again, Damnesia's on the outside. Bromboy is the inside line. Josh absolutely takes the card. There's a little bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Red Bull. But Bromboy manages to hang on. He's still P5 as Bromboy. He was P4 at some point.
I so wish I would speak Corsa. I so love the Corsa commentary when in these moments. Yo, this is so close. These guys are now. This is what we love to see. You know, like close the wheel to wheel on the side by side on corners. Not not like you are scared now. You can see they trust each other now. There's trust in driving now. You know, okay, I'm gonna be avoiding. I won't crash him. I won't touch him. You know.
Yeah. And now you mentioned earlier, the more that these guys battle, the greater the advantage for Zotile. But again, conversely, the more they battle, the more it brings the following pack into the reckoning. September has a huge moment over there, and will that bring Bromboy even closer? Bromboy, comparatively to September and Damnesia, was managing his battery a little bit better, but he did not get that move. He did not, rather, seal that double overtake, meaning that he now has to fight once again. We have 3 laps of racing to go. It's been a titanic tussle as Bromboy goes on the outside of the Ferrari as they hunt down that final corner. September has the inside line. Will it be a switcheroo for Bromboy? Not necessarily. His teammate is right on his tail. It's an absolutely sensational fight right here for the final podium spot. It's September. He dives on the inside. But Josh has the advantage. September concedes. Buddha retired in the pits outside the points. Perhaps seeing the writing on the wall that a points finish was really going to be a tall order. So as Buddha, the driver for Williams, who was Williams' only hope for this race to finish in the points, has retired in the pits. Now, September, 2/10 behind Damnesia. That's been the story of this final part of this race. Damnesia, September, Bromboy, Lung, Tabiso, all within touching distance of one another. Those 2 Ferraris really making their presence felt here. Let's take a look at the penalties. 3 seconds for Damnesia, Tapiso, M. Shangu, and Romeo. Bankovi and Inati have 6 seconds worth of time penalties to contend with. And as these guys have a titanic fight, remember, Sikle fought so hard for this race lead. He finds himself
true.
in an
agree with
advantageous
you.
position by a factor of 2.4 position. Brown
I agree
Boy
with
gave him
you.
a lot to think about. Seppo Temba gave him a lot to think about. But right now, Zotal is the man that is chasing him on those old medium tires.
I respect him.
18
I
lap
respect
old medium
Zotal.
tires for
I
Zotal.
respect Zotal. It's going for actually 20 laps on them, 21 laps on them.
Look at that,
And-
Seppo Temba.
And that
Yep.
gap is...
Oh, Seppo Temba's looking to go on the outside as Brown Boy looks to steal the march on Seppo Temba himself, but he does not quite get
And
that move
Lungs.
done. It's an
And also, it's also
absolute...
bringing in Uteps in the battle as well.
Exactly. They're gonna go on. They're gonna flank the Ferrari on the two Red Bulls. No, and now Lungs is ahead of his teammate. Brown Boy. Oh, Josh Amnesia forces Seppo Temba to go a little bit wide. Not at all. He didn't give him space at all. Josh with that aggression. Taking absolute this contact between the Red Bull and the Ferrari, and Lungs has to concede. Lungs has to concede, and Brown Boy is now back in the reckoning. Brown Boy, who seemed to be the one to most likely to finish furthermost of the Red Bulls, finds himself behind Lungs currently. And Tapiso, as Seppo Temba has to go quite wide there, Tapiso now finds himself on the brink of a potential. Quite late on the brakes is Brown Boy there. Tapiso had to slam the brakes as a result.
Brown Boy is, it's like, I don't know whether it's damaged his car or what, because it's a bit slow now. He's no longer that, actually the gap between him is opening and Ulungs. But maybe it's going to prove me wrong, but it's opening though.
Yeah, the wings don't look
back now.
The wings don't look to have taken any physical damage from our point of view, but Tapiso, he will not care. He can smell a potential P5 spot. Yeah, and Lungs, meanwhile, on Seppo Temba, looks to go on the outside. Will Lungs get this move done? The answer is yes! Lungs is now up to P4 when it looked for a long time that he was going to finish behind his own teammate. So, Alfa Romeo, Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari is the running order from P3 to P7. What a battle we have had. It's the final lap out here in Jeddah, and this is the battle that has been absolutely gripping for the most part of this final part of this race. Welcome to Brakeaway Top Tier Racing. Oh, it looks like Brown Boy has a huge moment, and Tapiso is going to look to take an advantage there. But will Brown Boy fight back? They make a little bit of contact in the sector one. Brown Boy goes wide. He concedes that position, and Brown Boy, who was at some point fighting for a potential race win, finds himself in P7, having conceded. But that moment means that those track limits or those penalties have cost Tapiso. So now Brown Boy is still quite likely to finish ahead of Tapiso. All Brown Boy has to do now is make sure that he finishes well and truly in a position that could, challenge potentially.
He can get that thing. He can actually get to Josh can actually drop to P7 actually, or P6.
Courtesy of that time penalty. Josh, look at him. He's been fighting to get as far ahead as possible. His battle is now with Zotal, who has fallen to 7 seconds behind the race leader. Can Josh get this move done? Of course, as he fights with Zotal, it brings the rest into the reckoning, meaning Josh will tumble further and further down the grid. Meanwhile, this big story of the day has been this man who was sensational in qualifying in wet conditions. He has been superb. Once again, as is customary, Sikle crosses the line to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with the fastest lap. Sensational. What about Zotal? Look at this three-way battle. Zotal will cross P2 from Lungs, and Josh is right here in third spot, but he will finish P5, which all things considered is absolutely a job well done. He will see it as a job well done. Tapiso will finish in P7. It's Damnesia P5, Brown Boy P6, Tapiso 7th, M. Shengu 8th, Romeo Mandla will finish cross the line in P9. Ban Kobe will claim a point. He will bring the McLaren home. Oh, Inati hits the wall. Inati was on the verge of a point.
And he was closing.
Inati was fighting with Ban Kobe, and he smashes the wall. And that is his prospects well and truly gone. What a sensational race. Offense, well done, Zotal. It was a sensational effort. My voice is absolutely cracking. What an absolutely sensational race. What a phenomenal advertisement for top tier breakaway league racing. Sikle wins from Zotal. And, oh, man. Whew, I need to catch my breath because these men fought so incredibly hard. And Lungs, codenamed Guzu, finds himself.
Zotal is in the building, and Zotal is the keeper. Hey, congratulations! It's what a race! Hey, congratulations!
Except for talks, man, I upstairs. I'm trying to get Let's go, Jez.
Hey, take us through that race. That was sensational.
That was crazy, guys. You know, mid-race, right? You think you've made the wrong call, and then you decide, okay, you know what? Race on, stick to it, but stick to it.
Yeah.
Second safety car comes out. I'm thinking, I don't have a second pair of mediums because ideally I would have liked to pit for fresh mediums. I don't have a second pair. Pitting for softs at the time, no way. I mean, we've got like 10 laps to go. Softs died. I mean, my first stint of soft on lap 4 already they won 45%. So I'm like, no. So I'm like, can't pit for hards now. I'm losing track position. Plus I'm going to be slow. Stick it. Keep track position and let's go. It worked out, guys. Yo, what a race.
No, what a race. What a race from you, Zotawa. Especially, how did you manage, like, your tires? How were they, when you finished the race?
Yeah.
So lap 22 of 25. I'm already on 60%. Like in the cars, they'll tell you, I'm like, guys, my tires, please bear with me. We've got this. The last two laps, I'm sure you'd realize that Usihle started opening the gap and Josh behind me started closing. So at the time, I'm like, you know what? Let me manage. A good thing was that Josh was defending UTT as well. But already had a 3-second penalty. So I'm like, you know what? Stick to it, Zotal. And we managed to make it work.
That's good.
That was
echelon we go. P4, P3, P2. We hope the next race is P1.
Yeah, that's an upward trend. Zotal looking absolutely good. You're back. You're well and truly back among the front runners. It's beautiful to see. And the man occupying the top step once again. Sensational drive. You were insane in qualifying in those conditions. Seatley, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thanks. That was a nice race.
Take us through that qualifying. It looked like, especially in Q3, you loaded up on fuel and you just kept on going and improving in those conditions. How difficult was that? And I'll bounce the same question to you, Zotal, after Seaplay, the qualifying.
I think Zotal and I did the same thing. We used one pair of tires throughout the
intermediates.
Q1,
Yeah.
So in case it rained in the race, it said it's going to rain throughout the race. So I adapted my setup for the rain, and I was slow on the straight line now, and it put me off. I also forgot to lower my tire pressure, so my tires were overheating so much, especially those mediums before I pitted. Yes, it was bad.
Man.
Yeah.
And that fight between you were fighting with quite a lot of people. You were fighting with Tsepo Temba, Brown Boy was there, especially in the beginning, and towards the end, that fight with Zotal. Take us through that.
They all great races. I loved racing with them. It was close all the time. No one touched anyone else. It was just beautiful racing throughout. And,
wow.
One thing I must say though, like I think there was when Sika overtook me for hards, I think it was on the hards and he overtook me. Those 2 laps sticking to his DRS made a big difference because I was opening the gap to Josh, so I needed it so much. Absolutely
crazy stuff. Tindo, I don't know if you have any additional pointers or questions there.
No, not really. But it was a good race, Sitle. Your first laps, I think it was pretty hard when they sandwiched you the Ferraris, and but you managed. I think the consistency is the only thing that you beat everyone from, because you are the quickest man. You are the quickest. I don't know. I think you need to upgrade yourself in esports. You need sponsorship. You can look for one. No, but no. Other than that, gents, no, it was a good race, especially.
His looks not in the party.
No, I don't think so.
No, it seems like he left the session as well. I was looking to add him.
Okay, cool.
No, but other than that, it was a great race. So I salute you. The way you manage your tires. I think it's a lesson from everyone. any tire you can go as long as you want, you know. But no, it was a good race. It was a good race from my side.
So Tyler silenced quite a lot of people, I'm sure, in the
cool.
comments.
It's in the commentary. They are quiet. They are quiet. I'm sure even Ustro is dying to know. Hey, Uzotha nje wafela umthulisa futhi the second week. You know, he's dying.
Second race in a row.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was absolutely beautiful stuff, gentlemen. Congratulations. Let's go back to the comments. A lot of cheers for Seaplay. A lot of cheers for Zotal. Zotal's my driver of the day, says Vix. Amazing race, says Smirts Django. As a couple of you are also saying that was sensational, especially the battle for that final podium spot. That was classic top tier breakaway league racing. We will be back for this top tier on Tuesday, 7:30, right here on the Breakaway YouTube channel. I believe we're in Baku next time around. So do make sure you stay tuned. And of course, tier 2 and tier 3 will race on Monday at 7:30 and 9 p.m. respectively. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ozani for mkhudu bafethu, ozani for mkhudu.
Yabasa mumkhodunyana yeah, no, akufani.
Ozani for mkhudu bafethu.
Thank you everybody in the comment section. We will catch you on Monday for tier 2 and tier 3.
They must share. They spread the word.
Social media, tell your friends. Keep on tuning in. It's Breakaway League Racing. Breakaway F1. Only on YouTube. Yes. Thank you and good night.